players that are most likely to get cut. I know there's a lot of teams that could save some cap space here. Have an article pulled up with some of the most likely players to get cut, but I know we were talking about the Chargers earlier. They have a lot of work that they need to get done here, but let's go over right now, according to the Brickyard, what players are most likely to get cut. And at the top of this article, friend of the show, Nick Chubb.
I think that would be just wrong. I understand that the NFL is a business, but Nick Chubb nearly lost his leg in week 5, and cutting him, whether or not you can save money or not, like, I think that would be wrong. I know the Browns are screwed, and this is probably what's going to happen. I don't like this, though. I would be heartbroken for Nick Chubb. I know he'll find business elsewhere, but still, I don't like it. I think you should find a way to restructure his deal if possible.
Yeah, so for this, basically the argument is that the Cleveland Browns would save $11.8 million in savings. And then when you look at the Cleveland Browns, you look at how impressive Kevin Stefanski is as a head coach. You're like, okay, well, this is a team that has one of the best offensive-minded coaches when it comes to scheming up the run, scheming up screens. We saw how they were able to plug in the Ford truck on offense. We saw how they were able to bring back Kareem Hunt. Thankfully, he hadn't beaten anyone recently, and he was eligible to come back and play. But they were able to use both of those guys and fill in for Nick Chubb. But you can also use the argument, well, with that being the case, with how brilliant he is on offense, if he comes back from this injury, he's still one of the most dynamic running backs in the league. And it's pretty much Christian McCaffrey right now. You have some other really good running backs, but I feel like the running back overall star power is starting to wane a little bit in the NFL, especially right now. So it could be a case where we move on too early, or let's get our explosive back to help Deshaun Watson or Joe Flacco, lean on him through the season to get us by here. Or do you want to save $11.8 million when you're pretty much $20 million over the cap at this point?
I think there's some other players that they could fill in a little bit easier. There's some signings on the defensive side of the ball that they signed a couple years ago that they could probably move on from. So I think that I would move more towards the defensive side of the ball. They have a stellar cast there, so whether it's someone like a Grant Thornhill or whoever else, restructure some deals on the defensive side of the ball. I would avoid trying to move off of Nick Chubb, though.
Yeah, I understand where they're coming from, especially for that. I think it is a cold business in the NFL, and Bill Belichick was always the coach that you would model after. Okay, let's move on from a guy a year too early rather than a year too late. So I could definitely see the Cleveland Browns, and if you're $20 million over the cap, it would be something I would be strongly considering, and that's why you kind of have to take your emotions out of it a little bit, especially when you're running a business here as big as the Cleveland Browns are. And then after that, we have the Chargers, who we all know they're in cap hell, pretty much $45 million in the red here. And then this one has either Joey Bosa or Khalil Mack getting cut. And our answer is, how about both?
Yeah, cut both of them, because Khalil Mack, he had a great season. His stock is pretty high for someone who is aging. He has a massive contract. I believe if they cut him or traded him, they would save $18 million.
Yeah.
And then Joey Bosa, he's a guy who I feel like has been on the decline the last 2 years. He also has been, I just don't think he's been a great locker room presence for a team that, they had that Jaguars game. He was up in arms about it because of the refs calling him for defensive holding and things like that. I think that you have Jim Harbaugh. He's going to have the insight for, the NFL, drafting landscape for the next couple of years. Go out and draft their replacements who are significantly cheaper. You'll have a lot more opportunity. You can move off of both of them. I think you can trade both of these guys and get decent compensation. Khalil Mack, maybe it's a team like the Lions who want to bring their defense to the next level. Yeah. Maybe it's a team like the Texans who want to do that. And Joey Bosa could find a home as well. So I think you should get rid of both of them and save even more cap.
Yeah, because right now they're $45 million against the cap in the red. However, both of these carry $75 million on their own against the cap. So Mac just had 17 sacks here, but he's still an older player. Joey Bosa is an older player. He's the lesser of the Bosa brothers, and that's not a slight against him. He's still a very good player, but when you're Jim Harbaugh, you're resetting the roster. You're installing your own culture here. So if I had to pick one or the other, I would probably pick Joey Bosa, because he definitely seems like he has more emotional baggage than Khalil Mack, where Khalil Mack goes out there, just balls, and then he still did have a career high in sacks here. So if I had to pick one, it would be Joey Bosa. But I think for the Chargers, you're rebuilding. The reason that the Legion of Boom was so great, and we've talked about this on the show before, is Pete Carroll was in that college system for a long time. So he saw all these players come and go. He knows who the sleepers are in the draft. So it's going to be round 1. Wow, what a great pick. Round 2. Okay, good pick. Round 3, that's a nice player. And then round 4, round 5, round 6. Undrafted free agent. Like, this is going to be the type of stuff that's going to be going on with the Chargers. And then you're going to get these players at a discount when you're paying Justin Herbert a ridiculous amount of money. And then you're probably going to have to move on from Austin Eckler and Keenan Allen as well. So let's move on from 4 of our stars. It is a new culture. It's a new dawn in LA, as some of the younger folks would say. So let's get rid of both of them, is my opinion.
Yeah, I think we should move on from both, save some money, and restall a new culture in LA.
Yeah, and then right after this, we have Mike Williams or Keenan Allen, and then both of these players carry a $34 million cap hit together. Actually, no, it's $32 million for Mike Williams, and then it's also $34 million for Keenan Allen. You could move off of, I would say, Keenan Allen. Mike Williams has had some injury issues, been off the field, but he's still the younger of the 2 players. He's still that athletic jump ball guy, where Keenan Allen, he's an ageless wonder. He's going to play well for a while. I would still get rid of him because he is the older player, and I know the Tennessee Titans are the home for retired wide receivers. So if I'm Tennessee, I'm thinking, well, we could potentially bring Antonio Brown out of retirement. We have DeAndre Hopkins on our team. You know what's missing? Keenan Allen. That's who we need on our team.
And I hate to do this to Keenan Allen because, he's a friend of the show.
Oh, no.
I don't want to use the P word.
Do not.
The Panthers last year had the least amount of open targets and then the entire NFL. Bryce Young had the most balls thrown away in the NFL. He had no help. He had Adam Thielen and nobody else. Keenan Allen comes to town. They give up maybe a 2nd or 3rd round pick. They can afford to take him on. Keenan Allen to the Panthers potentially.
Yeah, Keenan Allen to the Panthers. I don't want to speak it into existence because we are right about so much on the show. We predicted so many things right. We're a lot better than the mainstream media, especially if you look at all of our playoff picks here and all the teams we picked to go up and on the rise here. We've been able to nail the Texans, the Lions, Philadelphia the year. We picked them to go the Super Bowl before the season. Then they ended up doing it. And then same with the Cincinnati Bengals when everyone was in love with the Bills. And I just don't want to speak this into existence. So Keenan Allen, Tennessee is a much better place for you. They just got Cincinnati's head coach who's great there. So go ahead and go to Tennessee. Please veto any trade to Carolina or ask to be cut. I would rather him be cut than that happen.
Yeah, I can agree. Carolina is the rotting corpse of the NFL.
Yeah, but 2 plausible factors where the Chargers could get better, especially through the draft here. And maybe you get rid of Mike Williams and you get rid of Keenan Allen. You're like, let's pick up someone in the draft. Brandon Ayuk is unhappy, or Stephon Diggs, Devontae Adams, same deal with the cap issue, but you're getting a much, much better player in the case of Stephon Diggs and Devontae Adams. I think both of those guys are on a slightly higher level than Keenan Allen, even though he's consistently one of the top 15 to 10 receivers in the league.